Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's Curtis. Thanks for joining me. Everybody knows Micron had a tremendous earnings call yesterday. They gapped up. They jumped up about $167 today. You're holding the stock. You want to know where it's going, right? You want to know if you should be taking profits right now, or I don't know, maybe you want in on Micron. You want to buy it. You want to see when there's going to be a good entry point. In this video, I'm going to show you the tools that are free online for you with Yahoo Finance, using their charts, their indicators, and things like that, okay, that you can use for yourself to make the best judgment for your investments, okay? Now, I hope that this will give you some insights on how to use the RSI tool, relative strength index, the volume price action, the Fibonacci projection tools, okay? I'm going to walk you all through that in this video and show you live in real time exactly where Micron stands right now. All I ask is that, hey, if it helped you out, right? Continue watching my videos, click that like button for me, click that subscribe button for me, and let's go ahead and get right on into it, okay? So, as far as, just to share with you before we get into all the technicals, okay? RSI, Relative Strength Index, that's essentially where the momentum's going, right? You want to know if it's overbought or oversold, right? This way you can make your best assumption before you make your move. And then the volume and price action. You want to know if the price jumps are real and if they're sustainable. You want to know if there's real buyers out there showing up or selling the stock as well, or I mean if it's just a false move, right? It's going to tell you that. And then of course the Fibonacci projection. This is a parabolic stock that has had a tremendous amount of gains. You want to get an idea of how institutional, the smart money investors, where they think this stock is headed right now, and I'll show you how to use that. Again, all this stuff it's going to be on Yahoo Finance and free for you. So let's go ahead and get right into it, okay? Let me pull it up here. All right, so here I am, Yahoo Finance, okay? And I pulled up the Micron stock already, as you can tell, okay? Micron closed at $1,215, up $167.51, almost 16%, and right now kind of dropping down a little bit during the after hours market trading, probably some profit taking there. But moving into the technical indicators, okay? The first thing you want to do, first thing we're going to go ahead and cover, okay? It's going to be the RSI, Relative Strength Index. All you've got to do is click on this part right here where it says Advanced Chart, okay? So if you click on that, and I cleared out all my indicators already, all you've got to do is find this, hover over this thing right here, and it says Indicators, okay? You click on that, and this is what you can actually search up. Go ahead and search up RSI, click on that, and this is the period. So the amount of the time range, okay? 14-day. What we're going to do is we're going to set one up for a 14-day and one up for 2-day, okay? That way we can give you the different ideas of, within the past 2 weeks versus, the short relative run on Micron. So 14. We've got 14. I'm going to set it up. I don't know. Let's use a red line for this one right here, okay? A red line, and then of course they allow us to use dotted stuff, but we'll just use a basic line, okay, for the 14-day. Overbought, they allow us to change this. I'm going to change this over to 70, okay? So if it goes over 70, that means it's overbought, and then of course oversold at 30. So here we've got 70, 30. All I've got to do now is click this done, and then it's dropped it down here for me, okay? Now, as you can tell, we're at about 64 right now for the RSI 14-day. I'm going to add, of course, the 2-day as well, okay? So let's go ahead and add another one in there. All you've got to do is go through the same route. Change this over to 2-day. I'm gonna make this a little larger line with I don't know, a lighter red. Okay, it's almost pinkish. All right, so there we've got it. Okay, so as you can tell, okay, the 2-day, it's a lot more volatile, and the 14-day, okay, it's a little bit more spread out. So essentially the way that they use this is if they're over 70, okay, then it's looked at as, there's a lot of buying. It's overbought at that point. And then, of course, at 30, it's oversold. So, of course, at at 30, oversold doesn't exactly mean that it's a good entry point for you, because at the end of the day, right, you still want to make sure that you've got some momentum. You don't want to buy the stock and have it continue to drop down. And you can use this for all the stocks, not just Micron. So my reading right now for Micron, okay, they closed at $1,213. Okay, their 14-day RSI is at 64, which means that it's got some momentum still. Okay, but it's not quite yet overbought. And then the 2-day, they're at 81. So in the past 2 days, I mean, it's been overbought. And the one thing that you want to kind of keep an eye or have in mind, okay, is the difference between the 2-day and the 4-day. The 4-day, it's going to give you a little bit of a more fair reading because it's spread across 14 days. That's the performance over a 14-day movement on a Micron versus a 2-day. It's really used more for the swing traders, the day traders, right? They want to see, I mean, if it goes down below, I don't know, 5 or so, something like this right here. You see 5? That's where they want to buy, and they want to jump and capture the gains right there at the 48. So if you take a look down here at the RSI, okay, it went from 5 to 48. But if you take a look up here, the 5 was the low point at $861, and then the high was at about $950-ish. So they would have captured that gain right there. That's how you can use this RSI tool. I hope that helped you out, right? If it did, hey, again, right, click that like button for me. Subscribe. If you got any questions, drop it into the comments for me. I got you. Okay, so that's the reading right now currently. RSI technical indicator for Micron with the 14-day and 2 days. Okay, so 14 days, 64. It's closer, leaning towards the overbought, but still got momentum. 81, a little overbought on the 2-day. Now I'm not gonna make any assumptions on where it's headed, but I'd like for you to use this tool. That way you can make the best judgment that for what's palatable for your portfolio, your investments. Okay, it's not mine. I'm just trying to show you this to help you out a little bit. Now, we covered the RSI, right? I mentioned the volume, and as far as the volume, what you want to do is click on historical data after you've searched up Micron already, okay? And if you're new to Yahoo Finance, all you got to do is click for the ticker symbol or search for the company up here in the search bar. Once you get to Yahoo Finance, you get Micron, MU, ticker symbol MU right there. We'll go for the volume. We'll go into the historical data. I just clicked on that right here, and it gives you practically the price for the close, the low, the high, and the volume. And volume essentially means, right, the amount of shares that's been traded throughout the day. This is one of the most super simple, best way to get an idea of how much momentum a stock has right now. Okay, and if you want to get in on the momentum or not, especially watching after each close. So let me kind of just break this down for you all. Okay, if you take a look right here, we'll start at June 17th. Okay, they closed at 10:43 with a volume of about 46 million. And if you take a look, 46 million is kind of like in the average or low side. Okay, it jumps up the next day, June 18th, to 64 million in volume. And of course, take a look right there. It jumped up with a price close of about almost $100, $90 difference. Okay, so it jumped up $90 because of this 20 million added volume of trade. So if you take a look at it this way, okay, you've got volume going up, price going up. That's good momentum. That's what you want to see, okay, and that's what you want to capture. Now, if you take a look, okay, we've got the day after, or the next trading day, the 22nd, we've got 53 million in volume. However, I mean, the close is still jumped up a good amount. So lower volume than the last trading day, but it still jumped up a little bit. Now, this one right here, you want to keep an eye on this one here, okay? So we've got the 60 million in volume, but the price dropped about 150 bucks, right? So there's higher volume than the day before, but the price close actually came down. That means that there were a lot of sellers versus buyers. That's how you can kind of gauge that. Volume going up, price coming down, a lot of sellers. That's essentially what it means. So when you go through this table right here, that's all you've got to kind of try to identify, okay? we take a look at the close, okay, the day after that, 68 million. So there's more, practically more selling and buying, but it's the price stays at roughly about the same. And then after that, wow, take a look at this right here, right? Was that was today. Okay, 79, almost 80 million in volume. Price jumps up $200 practically. That's volume going up with the catalyst of the earnings call, blowout earnings call, and a higher close. So I hope that helped you out, right? You get an idea of how you can use the price close, the price action with the volume, and get an idea of where it's trending rather than moving into these stocks blindly or trying to sell your stock blindly. So that's two things that we've covered so far, okay? If you like that, give me a like, give me a subscribe, okay? And continue watching my videos as I continue to push these out, okay? I hope that the volume had made some clarity. If it did not, drop your questions into the comment section for me. I'll try to help you out there, okay? So we covered the RSI. We covered the price action and volume. Last thing I've got for you all, okay, is this is a parabolic stock. What does that mean? Parabolic, right? Let's take a look. Boom, 1 year back, right? They were at, in October of last year, only at $180. I thought they were pricey already. I should have bought before 200 and stayed there. But they jumped up, darn, to almost to $1,200 from less than 200 since October. That's parabolic gains right there. And there is no true way of trying to figure out, I mean, where are they going to land? Where the price target's going to land? So what we want to do is, you know what? Let's start over, okay? I'm going to take you all into the Fibonacci report and figure out how to read that, okay? So similar to the RSI, okay, you get back to this chart here. You click the advanced chart. We've got Micron. This is Micron right here. And, of course, with they still kept my indicators down here. I'm going to get rid of them. And the way to do that, okay, is you just click back on indicators and there's these trash buttons right here. Get rid of it. That way we have a clean slate for you all to get started at. Okay, so Fibonacci report. There's this thing right here with a pencil called draw. Okay, there's a little icon. Click on that. And then we've got these Fibonacci tools right here. I'm going to show you all how to do the Fibonacci projection. All right, if you click on, hover over this, it says Fib projection. You click on that, and we can go ahead and kind of change the color over to red. That way we can get a better visual on it. Okay, so the way that this works is we got to make three clicks on this. Okay, what they want us to do is click at the low point practically after a correction. Okay, and so this was June 3rd, June 5th right here. I'm going to click right here at this low point right here, which was at about 850, and then they want us to click at the high point, boom, right there, and then at the next low point. There we go. So this reddish pink thing right there, you can actually just grab this graph and kind of hold on to it and drag it up, okay? These are the Fibonacci reports for a stock, and it's used by the smart money, okay? I'm talking about the big money, the big investors out there, the institutional investors out there. They have all this stuff built into their systems, okay? I'm talking about the algorithm buyers, okay? They have all this stuff built into their system for the Fibonacci report on these type of parabolic stocks, because who knows where it's headed, right? So let me go ahead and kind of just break down what this means, what this essentially means. You know what? Let me change my little side by side for you guys. How about that? Okay. That way I get out of the picture. So essentially, I'm going to give you some background real quick. Okay. The Fibonacci system comes from a mathematical system, which is like a pattern. Okay. It was founded by this guy named Fibonacci. He was nicknamed Fibonacci. I forgot what his real name was, but that's what they called him anyways. And all the smart money, the institutional investors, the algorithm buyers, they all use this for their forecasts. All right. So this is how it works. Okay. The Fibonacci pattern is in a sequence. Like it goes like 1 or 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, and so on. Okay. And as the numbers get higher, dividing any number by the one that came right before it will always equal 1.618. Okay, 1.618. Hence, if you take a look right here, right, we've got the 1618 right there. So apparently that's the magic. Okay, it's when you divide it, you get that 1.168. This ratio is found everywhere in nature, from the spiral of the galaxies to the growth patterns of shells. Okay, it's just like it's magic. So the psychology with this is that in trading, the 1.168 represents the market's natural expectation of a healthy continuation. What I mean by that is that when a stock breaks out of its old highs, buyers pile in with heavy momentum. The 1.618 extension is the default target where big institutional algorithms and professional traders line up their take profit orders. And of course, because everyone expects a pause or a reversal at this point right here, which is the 1.168, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay? They call that the golden ratio. Now, the 1.0 level, which is going to be the 100% level right here, okay? That is basically the exact dollar amount for the first rally from the low point to the high point, okay? So essentially, if you take a look right here, this is the low point to the high point. If you add double that, then you get to this 100 point right there. That's effectively what it is. Okay, so if you take a look, what's that? Like 1,200, about $300 difference. And then that $100 is another 300 on top of that peak. That's effectively how they kind of look at this right here. And the psychology behind that is that humans naturally think in terms of symmetry, right? And that's exactly how these institutional buyers, these big, large investment firms, that's the way they look at it. So basically, to put it simply, okay, if a stock rallied $20 on its first leg up, okay, and then it dropped a bit, the next rally, I mean, psychologically, they're thinking it can jump up another $20 on the second leg. That's the whole mindset behind it. And then the bottom one, okay, the last 61.8 down here, okay, 0.618 practically. That's where it's the opposite of this top one right here. And what that means, right, is it's like a conservative take on the projection. The institutional investors and the big money, right, they practically think of that as like a mini milestone. Okay, when a stock is trying to bounce back after a correction, and if they hit that point where the 61.8% is at, okay, that's the mini milestone. It means that, I mean, the stock has achieved a little bit more than 60% of the original move. So if a trend is weak and is running out of steam, it will often stall or fail, you know, right before that point right there. So at the end of the day, the big investors, they use that point right there to test the waters, right? If it gets past that point, they're thinking it's going to blast past that point up to the 100 point or 100 part up here. So my whole point with this Fibonacci projection for you personally, okay? If you're holding this stock right now, I don't know, maybe you bought it down at this point or this point. Who cares, right? What I'm saying is there's a reason why all the analysts, top analysts in the world, are targeting like all the way up here in this area. Okay, the 1700, and I'm telling you guys right now, you heard it from me first. Okay, I mean, you're going to get all sorts of re-ratings that's going to be blown out after this the earnings call yesterday. Anyways, going back to if you're holding this stock right now, okay, you're looking at it to get past this little point right here, which is roughly about what the 260-ish mark. Okay, once it gets past that, big institutional investors are expecting it to get up to close to 1400. The high projection, right, is going to be up there, you know, closer to 1700. Like I said, you're going to probably see even more with all the good news that they've shared. But this is the Fibonacci projection. I wanted to share that with you all so that you can get an idea, okay, of what's palatable for you if you're looking to sell the stock that you're holding right now. Now, if you're buying, right, I mean, it obviously looks like there's a lot of good upside. And at the end of the day, all these indicators, the RSI, right, the volume, the price action, the Fibonacci, it's all for us to kind of gauge and give us clues on how to make our best assumptions. It's not It's not a prediction. It's not telling us that for sure it's going to, jump up past 1600. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that you can use this, right, to make better assumptions rather than going in blindly. Now, if you like the Fibonacci report, right, drop it into the comments. Give me a like. Click that subscribe button for me, okay? Last thing I've got for you all, okay, everybody, is I'm going to wrap it up with the presentation that Micron dropped yesterday with their earnings call, okay? We've got Sanjay Mehrotra. I'm sorry I butchered his last name right there, but he's the chairman, president, CEO of Micron. He was delivering the information to us yesterday, and I highlighted some real important points that I wanted to wrap this up with, okay? So practically they're saying, hey, all exceeding the high end of their guidance, all of what they've made in Q3. So they blew out practically, okay? I'm not going to give you the figures here. I did it in my last video from yesterday. If you want to check that one out, you know what? I'll throw it up here somewhere. And then I threw one up, a very comprehensive video on Micron before the earnings call even went down. So if you want to check that one out, I'll throw it up here as well, okay? After this video, of course. So they're excited to announce that they signed 16 strategic customer agreements. I thought that was fantastic. I'm going to tell you guys exactly why. Sanjay says they expect that to fundamentally transform their business model. That's what everybody wants to hear, right? All the investors, because they have that stigma of being a cyclical commodity business that goes up and down after the huge trends, and everybody's scared of that, and that's why they're not getting the targets that they deserve to be getting. Now, he's saying they're in early innings of significant innovation that's going to touch every part of the global economy. Wow. Okay, so he is making us believe that, you know what, there's a long runway for Micron. And you know what, I'm a believer. I think Micron has a long way to go right now. They mentioned, right, there's going to be new consumer devices such as automotive, industrial applications, and robotics. That's on top of the data centers, on top of the smartphones, on top of all the other GPU stuff that they're working on already. Keep that in mind. Okay, a whole lot that hasn't even developed yet, that's still in the pipeline right now. All right. He mentions supply shortages in memory and storage will take considerable time to improve. They actually don't know when, right? They say it right here. We currently do not have a line of sight as to when memory supply will be able to catch up with the increasing demand. Now, I don't know if they have an idea, but they're telling us that right now, right? They don't know when it's going to hit that equilibrium exactly. Memory industry supply growth is dependent on significant greenfield fab expansions. The reason why I highlighted that is why Micron has a huge moat here in America, okay? First off, they got government backing, okay? The whole CHIPS Act. We want to bring America back to the great American manufacturing top in the world, and we're going to do it with AI. We're going to do it with memory, and Micron has the backing of the United States government. Okay, they are one of the top 3 memory companies on the planet, outside of the 2 in Korea, which is Samsung and SK Hynix. And of course, in my opinion, they're doing all they can to overtake those other 2 right now. So that's real important news. Wanted to share that with you guys. Next up, AI system performance is architecturally dependent on memory subsystem performance and capacity. Do you know what that means? That means that we love the speed of AI, right? We want, every time that we ask for a request, we want it to come back faster and quicker, right? Sanjay is telling us that, hey, Micron, or the memory, is what that speed is dependent on, okay? AI can only move as fast as memory is going to help them move. And that is so important, especially in this world where we want everything instantaneously, and we expect that with AI. I certainly do. So that right there, all right, here says, more complex memory hierarchy, giving them a greater differentiation opportunity for Micron. I believe it. And then right here, memory in the AI world to a strategic asset. That's exactly why. What's that company? Anthropic, Claude AI, made a strategic partnership with Micron, because they know if they're going to become number 1 in what they do, they need Micron's backing. So just wanted to share that with you all. Next up, right, they're creating a new class of strategic customers. I had mentioned that at the beginning of the PowerPoint that Sanjay and Micron left us here. You guys can find us on their You guys can find this on their investor relations website. Just search it up. Okay. So we've got here. Okay. They announced that they've completed 16 SCAs. Those are their customer agreements that they've got. They say that these agreements have 5-year terms. Okay. That means that they want to make sure that they're bringing in money for the foreseeable future. I love that. And then they also mentioned automotive agreements generally have 3-year terms. But Sanjay had mentioned, okay, they're working with robotics companies. They're working with automotive companies. They're not just working with NVIDIA or Microsoft or Amazon, the huge Mag 7 companies. They're working with all these other companies as well. That's terrific. And that, to me, that gives Micron a leg up. Certainly, I think they have a lot more that they're going to prove to us, okay? Next up, okay, their whole technology product leadership section, okay, AI's insatiable appetite for memory bandwidth capacity with low latency, low power is driving memory architectural choices, memory product mix shifts, and manufacturing process technology decisions, all of which increase the complexity of memory and storage roadmap for the industry. Wow. They already know that, it's not just a huge demand, but there's a demand in the technology change to get what we want out there. Like I mentioned, not just the speed, right? But to get speed while we're cutting down on power, while we're cutting down on costs, etc. And Micron they're positioned for all that. Apologize about the way that I highlighted this data center. I just swiped across. I really had meant to do it like this right here. But anyways, data center, right? You guys got to remember, they're still up all big on the data center right now. AI is driving unprecedented growth in data centers for Micron. Don't keep that in mind. PC and mobile, right? We use our cellular phones on a regular basis. We use our computers. I'm using it right now. Agentic AI platforms as well coming through, okay? OpenClaw, NemoClaw, right? That's elevating the value for all the things that Micron is putting together in the memory industry right now. And then, of course, automotive and robotics. That's one thing that I've been big on. That one thing that I feel like a lot of the analysts are they're leaving on the table, okay? Everything's baked in right now, but especially the fear. The fear's baked in right now, but you know what? All optimism, like the automotives and the robotics, that hasn't even been touched yet. I feel that hasn't been considered as much, and I highlighted a couple real big points right here, okay? Robotics, continued advances in simulation foundation models, integrated hardware, software stacks are accelerating physical AI. This creates a growing, content-rich opportunity for high bandwidth, low power memory, and storage that powers real-time perception, inference, and control. Get this right here. Humanoid robots carry 10 times the amount of memory as an average L2 vehicle, and they expect that to sustain for multi-decade. That's just crazy, okay? If you haven't heard, Jensen Huang, the godfather of AI, okay? The man, he said, hey, even with their Vera Rubin, their latest and greatest chip, it's going to use way more memory than their last previous version, okay? And then they're getting in the CPU game as well. Remember that, okay? The CPU game for NVIDIA, they're saying they're going to need more memory for that too, even more so. So memory, there's a reason why it's going parabolic right now. And I just wanted to restate that and ensure that, hey, you know what? I'm still pounding the table right now and still screaming. It's a screaming buy right now, okay? Now, last thing I'm going to wrap up with, okay, is just this tremendous, who doesn't like money? Who doesn't like the numbers, okay? If you take a look right here, this says it all, okay? Q3 26 for Micron, okay? If you take a look from the 2025, Q3 in 2025, take a look at that. From $3 billion, okay? These are amounts of millions right there. Up to 13, okay? That's huge. Take a look at the gross margins from 58% to 83%. That's just phenomenal. I think after the earnings call yesterday, okay, their gross margins is at 84.9%, almost 85%. You're talking about for every dollar they make, they're profiting 85 cents. That's just insane, especially with this insatiable demand right now that seems to be endless, at least for the next few years, okay? Same thing going down, okay? We've got the growth is just tremendous. The core data center, look at that, almost 11 times, 10, oh, definitely over, just incredible, okay? 87%, okay, grew from 38%. That's just insane for the gross margin right there. And then, of course, mobile client stuff, right, from 3 to 11, from 1 to 4.6. That is out of this world. Not just the fact that their revenue has totally skyrocketed, but the amount that they're taking in for gross margins is just out of this world. More than NVIDIA. And NVIDIA was impressive I believe they were in the 70s. Okay. Anyways, that's all I wanted to share with you guys. Okay, I went through the RSI, I went through the volume price action, I went through the Fibonacci projections. I hope that helped you out. I hope that gave you some comfort. Hey, if it did, click that like button for me, okay? If it did, click that subscribe button for me. Micron, okay, although they may be down at 1180 after hours right now, okay, in my opinion, they've got a pretty good long runway. You saw that Fibonacci projection, okay? My name's Curtis. I thank you for joining me and watching this video. Drop in a comment if you liked it, okay? I will see you next time. Make it a great day.